Biden is about to bring economic pain. Sadly, it's the black communities. You guys are going to feel it most. It's well, let's just go into it. It's I don't even know. I'm words. Well, I'll talk about it here. Let me just go show what I'm talking about. Biden declares national emergency for clean energy, invokes the DPA, the Defense Production Act, to facilitate faster transformation of energy economy away from fossil fuels. I want to show you here. The real goal is to fundamentally transform the foundation of the U.S. economy from fossil fuels into a new era of clean. Clean is because it's a freaking joke. It's not clean. Energy. This is what all Biden cabinet. This is what the Biden cabinet officers now refer to as economic transition phase. His announcement today is a triggering of the increased government control over the construction of the U.S. energy program. All right, so here today, Biden is authorizing the use of the DPA to accelerate domestic production of clean energy technologies. Remember, they were giving Trump a hard time for not using BPA or DPA for the vaxes, which again was insanity. Trump sold his soul for the vax. I still to this day I don't understand it, but to be perfectly honest, I kind of do. No, I should say no more. Anyway, that's going to, so the accelerate domestic production of clean energy. That sounds good, right? It's going to unlock new powers to meet this momentum. Specifically, Sniffy Joe is authorizing the Department of Energy to use the DPA to rapidly expand American manufacturing of 5 critical technologies. Solar panel for photovoltaic, all right, that's turning the sun's energy into electricity, photovoltaic. Building insulation, heat pumps. The heat pumps, that's what England's trying to do now, and it's a cluster fark. Equipment for making and using clean energy generated fuels, all right. Critical power infrastructure like transformers. All right, let's keep reading here because it's going to get ugly here. I'm going to show you why here in just a second. And you're going to say, why do you say the black community? Well, let's check this out. So deploying the DPA, Biden's going to strong labor standards, protecting labor agreements, blah, blah, blah. The administration will strongly encourage projects with environmental justice outcomes that empower the clean energy transition in low-income communities historically burdened by legacy pollution. You know what that means, don't you? So I just want to show you something. Here's old Abraham, what the hell is this freaking clown's name? The biggest racist of all races, this guy. Anti-racist baby is bred, not born. And then you see right here, climate justice is racial justice. So these guys have thrown in with the money set, which is a climate activist. Because it's, look, Kenny's not an idiot. He knows who's buttering his bread. It's rich, freaking whites who live in the Northeast, who got more money they know what to do with, and they're so worried about that. Look, they have more money to worry about fossil fuels because they can afford solar, they can afford all their other crap. But you and I can't, but they can. So Abraham Kennedy says, look, I can get, he's a race hustler. There's no other way. It's Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson. We've seen these guys, Benjamin Crump, time and time again. Climate justice is racial justice. And so Biden, of course, is saying, look, the administration also strongly encouraged projects with environmental justice outcomes that empower the clean energy transition into low-income communities. Which is interesting because we're going to go, I'm going to read this book later because I'm going to debunk that, but I'm not reading it yet. I want to show you something. Gee whiz, residents do not like wind turbines. Isn't it interesting? Across the United States, rural communities have become a flashpoint for sitting for wind and solar energy products. The cumulative impact, which could matter to efforts to reach climate goals, and the apex experience in Vermilion County, Indiana, proves just how challenging it can be. Has a tide turned against the hideous government-enabled superstructures. Look at that, just freaking disgusting. Politely called industrial wind turbines. The area in Newport, Indiana, served by Duke Energy, is primed to support new symbols of homegrown energy in the form of wind turbines. But officials in Vermilion County effectively outlawed wind energy last year, squashing overtures for renewable energy apex clean energy. The county is hardly alone. About a third of the Hoosier state is off limits to wind because of similar restrictions. Indeed, across the United States, rural communities have become a flashpoint for sitting for wind and solar energy projects. What makes the outcome of Vermilion County notable is that few, if any, developers have gone to the extraordinary lengths that Apex did to win the public's trust. It offered not only unprecedented input, but also a piece of the profits, and they still said no. But here's Sniffy Joe. Where are we going to put these things? Oh, we're going to put them in low-income communities. And who do you think is going to go? Abraham Kendi. Climate justice is racial justice. He won't live in these communities. He'll be out there in like what's the stupid lady Patricia Kohlers, who lives in an all-white $4 million. I got stuff. I just ate some barbecue. Sorry, I'm so sorry. Use my foodie ninja, which I probably won't be able to use under Biden's climate stuff because you won't have electricity. It'll be freaking 90 cents a kilowatt hour, as Obama said. In my plan, the price for energy, electricity will inherently have to skyrocket. They're bringing the pain, man. And anyway, the point being is none of this stuff would worry me too much because we could say, well, we're going to vote against you, Sniffy Joe. Well, yes, that's true if your vote actually matters. It doesn't, my friends, because they control, it's like Stalin said. Let me just show you what I'm talking about. The people who cast the votes don't decide in an election. The people who count the votes do. That's Joseph Stalin. A good, don't forget Mao, by the way, Anita Dunn, who's working at Sniffy Joe, saying just basically bows down to Maoist. I mean, these people are freaking evil, my friends. And they're going to bring the pain come hell or high water. They're not going to suffer under it because they get all the money, they get all the connections. You and I are going to. The black community is going to suffer mostly because they're going to put all these wind turbines in your neighborhoods, my friends. Those things are loud. They kill birds. They don't give you the electricity you need, 3 watts per meter squared. And all these people say, that's not true. Yeah, it is. I'll show you right now. Sustainable Energy Without the Hot Air by Professor David McKay, who died a number of years back. This is from 2008. The efficiency hasn't changed. It's still the same, man. It's still the same. I'm going to read it to you. He goes, page 263 explains how to estimate the power per unit area of a wind farm in the UK. If the typical wind speed is 6 meters, 13 miles per hour, basically, he said that if the typical wind speed is 13 miles per hour, the power per unit of area of wind farm is about 2 watts per meter squared. If the typical wind speed is 13 miles per hour, the power per unit area of wind is about 2 watts per meter squared. All right? So it gets worse. The figure of basically 13 miles per hour is probably an overestimation for many locations, and he says in Britain. The daily average speed reached 6, or again, 13 miles per hour, only about 30 days of the year. This is in Britain. Now, it might be a little bit more here, but you get what we're saying is 13 miles an hour. And at least Britain, that's where he used to live before he died, sadly, because he's a good guy. It only reached that 30 days per year. All right. The daily average speed, let's see. But some spots do have that. All right. So plugging in British population density, blah, 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 we find that wind power could generate, if wind turbines were packed across the entire country, and assuming that 2 watts per meter square is a correct unit power per unit area, converting to our favorite power units, that's 200 kilowatts hours a day per person. You hear that? That's if they're packed across the entire country. And we actually have 13 miles of wind per hour. We get 200 kilowatt hours a day per person. But then he says, let's be realistic. What fraction of the country can we actually covering with windmills? We'll say 10%. Then we can conclude if we covered the windiest 10% of the country with windmills, delivering 2 watts per meter square, we would be able to generate 20 kilowatt hours per day per person, which is half the power used by driving an average fossil fuel car 50 kilometers a day. All right. The windmills that we required to provide the UK with 20 kilowatt hours per day per person amount to 50 times the entire wind hardware of Denmark, 7 times all the wind farms of Germany, and double the entire fleet of the wind farms in the world. Now, again, this is 15 years ago, but you get it. We're talking a hell of a lot of wind. All right. Simply, am I saying we shouldn't bother with wind farms? He's not, but I am. He goes, no. But if we want wind to truly make a difference, the wind farms must cover a very large area. End of story. The Whitley wind farm being built in Glasgow in Scotland has a max 6 watts per meter square peak. It'd be interesting to see what the Whitley wind farm is doing now after we have 15 years in production. But Biden, they don't care. Your vote won't alleviate this. Yes, you should still vote for the Republicans, blacks, whites, everybody. It's not going to change anything because they're going to throw a bone to allow you to look like you have some say in this. You don't. We have no say. The pain's coming, man. It's going to start in the minority communities, and then it's going to work its way up to the more affluent communities. Not to see this as to live. And look, I think about this all the time. I said, how? I just don't get it. How? And I just know now. My vote counted in 2020. Wink, wink, wink. It counted for the wrong guy, of course, but it did count. Wink, wink, wink. Can't say it out loud. We know this. And they know they can do it again when they need to. Now, they'll give us a bone in 2022. We'll take back the House. We probably won't take back the Senate, but we'll take back the House. And everyone says, see, still the red versus blue. It won't mean a thing. It's coming. I'm just telling you right now. I think about this all the time, man, because this is just pure insanity. They don't care that gas is $5 a gallon. They don't care your electricity bill is going to go through the roof. They don't care it's going to be rolling brownouts this summer. They don't flipping care because they don't care because you can't vote them out. You have no control. They control it. Now you can sit there and we're going to say, there's nothing I can do about this. Let me just prepare for how I can deal with the inevitability of high costs of electricity and less convenience in my life. It's coming. And they're going to start in the black communities. They're going to say the rural areas are going to freaking rise up. They don't want this crap because we've seen it now. So we're going to put the minorities communities under the idea of environmental justice. And of course, Abraham Kendi, Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, all these clowns will get paid. And look, Robin DiAngelo, she's a white grifter. There's tons of white grifters too, man. Hell, the church, tons of grifters in the church who are advocating for environmental justice too. So put all the solar panels and put all the wind turbines in black communities. Yeah, that's a real winning scenario. Anyway, it's going to get ugly. We'll see you.